Hi friends, I'm Crystal Bessie of the Louisiana Farm to School program. This month's Louisiana Harvest of the Month was legally designated as a vegetable over 100 years ago in the United States, although it's botanically classified as a fruit. Now it's the third most popular vegetable in the United States. It's tomatoes. No matter how you slice it, the tomato is a delicious treat and so much fun to grow. The tomato is a member of the nightshade family, which also includes other crops like the Irish potato, peppers, and eggplant. It's believed that tomatoes originated in the South American Andes around what is now Peru and was first used as a food by the Aztecs in southern Mexico. I'm standing here with a few members of the nightshade family: eggplant, pepper, and behind me are tomatoes. When the tomato was brought to the Europeans from the Americas, they were considered to be poisonous because they're members of the nightshade family. Now the tomato is used in Europe and all over the world for all sorts of culinary purposes. Farmers in St. Bernard and Plaquemines Parish marketed their tomatoes as Creole. These farmers allowed their tomatoes to vine ripen and grow in rich soil, which they claimed created a unique flavor that distinguished their tomatoes from all other tomatoes in Louisiana and the United States. Today, Creole has become a marketing term for any tomato grown in Louisiana. Today we're visiting a farm in the heart of Hungarian settlement with strong ties to the history of this area. This is Frank Fekete Farm, and it's been owned by Frank and his family for over 100 years. Today we're here with Frank Fekete. Thank you so much for having us out here and welcoming us.
You're welcome.
Tell me a little bit about your farm and the history of it.
Well, I got into farming when I was a kid. My parents were both school teachers, and to make a little extra money, my daddy wants to develop a good work ethic, so we started growing mostly bell peppers and strawberries. Times were different back then. You planted a couple crops, and then they put them on trucks and shipped them up north. Now things have changed, and people come in here with the buy fresh, buy local, so we diversified, plant all different kind of vegetables, and then we go to the farmers market, sell local. People drive in like they're driving in right now to buy fresh stuff. People want fresh, it tastes better, got more nutrients, they know where it comes from. We mainly grow fresh market round tomatoes like these here. We plant them on black plastic in the early spring. The ground's a little chilly, so we use the black plastic. It keeps the ground warm where it'll catch fast, and then it keeps the grass off mulch. Keeps the ground loose too. You got to have raised beds. It keeps the oxygen in the air in the soil. If it gets too much water in the road, it's gonna scald out, so you gotta have big road. When we time, we use this rebar. If you go to wood stakes, you're gonna farm, the wood stakes are gonna last about a year and they're gonna rot out. These here last as long as you don't, I mean, we bend them sometimes, pull them out, but we straighten them up. And then we just use them every 4 plants. We tie an anchor and then wrap it, cage them in, they call it, 1, 2, 3, 4, and go all the way down and come back to the other side. As they grow, we'll put, when these get finished growing, we'll have probably 5 strings on them. These are determinate, like I said, and then they'll get about this tall. You'll get about 30 pounds of bush off of them. And then we use the black for the heat, and then next month we'll start using the white plastic. It'll keep the ground a little cooler where it don't cook the roots.
Now let's head over to Judy and see what she's got cooking from the garden.
Hello. Today we're going to talk about a very popular vegetable in the United States, tomatoes. These juicy vegetables are full of antioxidants like lycopene and beta-carotene. Lycopene is what gives them their bright red color. But not all tomatoes are red. They come in a variety of colors like yellow and orange, green, and even purple. I'm here with Frank Fekete. Frank grows all these beautiful vegetables here. How can you tell when it's time to harvest a tomato?
Well, they're gonna start, you see the little star here in the end here, when it starts breaking, they call it. It's getting close to being ready to pick.
If you're lucky enough to have a lot of tomatoes and a little more time, it's a good idea to roast some and then freeze them and add them to future meals. Simply slice them, chop up some garlic or use some garlic chives, sprinkle some oil over them, a little bit of fresh thyme. Put them in the oven and roast them for at 350 degrees for about 2 hours. You can eat some right away after they're done. You can save some and then you can freeze some. The flavor of the cooked tomatoes is so delicious and they make fine textured sauce. Here's one of my favorite ways to eat tomatoes, in a sandwich. I have here 2 pieces of whole wheat bread. I'm going to slice this tomato. I like to slice them kind of thick when I'm going to put them on my sandwich. Spread a little mayo on it, mayonnaise. A little.
Put the mayonnaise on both pieces of bread, me.
Okay, then I'll do that. Okay, now we'll put our tomatoes on there. Sprinkle a little salt. I learned my lesson with my pepper.
Looking delish.
Mm-hmm. Is it lunchtime yet?
Well, give me half. Ready on 3. 1, 2, 3. Delish.
So good.
Homegrown tomatoes. I think the salt brought out the flavor better, I believe.
Yep.
Plus, I like black pepper on my tomatoes too.
Did you know tomatoes are rich in acids that can even remove smells released by skunks? These acids can also be a part of various lotions and hygienic products that are used for cleansing the body and various objects in the house.
All right, we're out here in one of your tomato fields, and can you tell me a little bit more about where a tomato comes from off the tomato plant? How does a tomato grow?
Well, you see these little yellow flowers here? They're perfect flowers. They're going to self-pollinate. They start here at the bottom. If you can see here at the bottom,
Okay.
there's a little tomato. Look.
see that,
Can you see it? A little small tomato coming. It's green. It's going to get, when it gets about this big around, then it's going to start breaking and turning. They're going to be real big at the bottom, and you see as the plant branches out, it's going to shoot more flowers out. And this plant's going to have probably 10, 15 clusters of flowers, so you're looking at, say, 6 tomatoes on each cluster, so you're looking at about 60 or 70 tomatoes. So you're looking at 25, 30 pounds of tomatoes.
So every time it branches out, it'll create a new cluster.
New cluster. As it gets taller, the tomatoes are going to lose a little size, but these have been bred to hold their size. I mean, they're going to start out, say, at the bottom this big, and then when they get to the top, they might be, say, that big. There's people, you know, everybody wants a tomato for what? Hamburger. They want a hamburger tomato. They cut it one time, put it on a hamburger sandwich. They're determinate, so you don't have to prune them.
So they're pretty much self-care.
Self-care, just keep them tied, watch for disease and insects on them.
So a tomato, is it pretty easy to grow, would you say?
They're pretty easy to grow. I mean, they're heavy to pick. You get green all over your skin and clothes when you pick them, but I mean, everybody likes tomatoes. It's like
Yes, they do,
strawberries.
yeah.
Everybody likes strawberries, tomatoes, and crawfish, right?
That's right.
But if you refrigerate it, you're gonna kill the taste, so keep them out of the fridge. If they get too hot, they're gonna go to mush. If they get too cold, lose all the taste, get hard. Keep them at room temperature, you're gonna have a tasty little treat.
Thank you so much for having us here and teaching us a little bit more about your tomatoes and how tomatoes grow. I think I learned a lot. I'm ready to eat some tomatoes.
I've come back around June 10th, and we're gonna have plenty of tomatoes, and you can help pick too.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank y'all for coming, appreciate it.
The Louisiana Harvest of the Month program showcases a different Louisiana food each month in Louisiana communities. We hope you will join us in tasting Louisiana this month.